So, hey, I wanted to talk to you today. Actually, hey, who am I kidding? Hey. I wanted to talk to you today about doing field studies, about just going out, not worrying about anything, just looking at what you have around you and doing a quick study of it. And I should qualify right from the beginning. Studies are drawings that we use when we go out someplace and we want to do further work. So I come out here, I found this really interesting silver birch tree that's sort of rotting away, and I want to go back and do further work in the studio with this particular subject matter. So what I do is I come out in the woods, I do a whole bunch of photographs, I do a whole bunch of photography, and then I do some quick little drawings. So let's have a look at how it is I did this. One of the first things that I noticed when I came out here today was this silver birch, and it's quite dead. But at the bottom here, I mean, you can see through the trunk, and you can see where all of these very long root system has all come out. Down in here, I'll just pan down for a second. This is a dry riverbed which completely dries up in the summertime. This time of year, it's normally this dry. In the spring, it's a raging little river, but this time of year, it's quite dry. So I thought this might be an interesting composition here with the dry riverbed and this very dead but very long tree. And I think I'd make that the central focus. But when you come out here, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was, focusing on a particular subject matter, finding something that interests you, and then focusing in to do your drawing or your painting on that. And I think this, with this big rock down here and all of these roots, I think this could make a super interesting composition. Certainly something that deserves further study. So for me, that would be a really super interesting thing to look at. Okay, so what if I choose to have a look at this um, gnarly looking base on this silver birch? What if I choose to, instead of have my tree come right up the center, I'm going to put my tree sort of off to the right. And this is a study, so I'm not going to do a thumbnail or anything for it. I'm working with just a regular black Sharpie pen, and I'm working in a small 5x8 moleskin book. And I got some awesome little shadow on my page here, but let's have a look at this pine tree again. Or I shouldn't say pine tree, I should say silver birch tree again. I'm going to think about compositional elements, and I'm going to put this on the 1/3 line that's on the right. Okay, so I'm going to think about where there's a hole here. I'm going to think about, there's an outside branch that comes down like this, and there's another outside that comes down like this, and it twists and it turns, and then it comes back on itself like this. And I'm just looking at the different elements, and I'm looking at where it is that each one of these things lies and how each one of these affects the previous element. And I think when you do that, you end up with a pretty good composition. And all I'm really doing is I'm just looking at each element, and I'm thinking about where each thing affects the previous one. And then I'm thinking about how it is that they come off the page, or where it is that I want them to come off the page, maybe. This is a hole. This is actually, you can see light all the way through there. So I'm going to leave it so that you can see light all the way through there. This is a piece that's broken. Okay, so that's how I think of that part. Anyways, that goes up there. This has a huge chunk that comes off. It goes down into the ground there, and then it comes back up and it joins onto this. And again, there's a hole here, so I'm going to represent that hole like this. So that's how I'm going to represent most of that tree. Now, down in here, this is very dark down in here, so I'm going to put quite a bit of hatching in here and some cross hatching in here. Same within here, this is very, very dark. I'm going to put some hatching in there, and then I'm going to cross hatch it just to make it even darker. Okay, and you can see how that built up a lot of darkness in there very, very quickly. In here also, there's a little bit of light coming through there, but not a whole lot, so I'm going to put my hatching a little bit further apart. Not all of it. Just like that. In here, this actually kind of continues up the tree for a bit, but right here it's a bit dark where one layer lays over top of the other layer, so I'm going to put that in with some cross hatching. There's also a significant amount of fungus on this tree, which is sort of cone. I guess I don't know if it's cone shaped. It's shaped sort of like a bell like a bicycle bell, I think is how I'm seeing it. So I'm going to put those in like that. There's also a couple of other places down here where just under here there's some more roots, but I can't really see them. One of the ways that I'm going to make these into roots is there's quite a few rings on these. I'm actually going to put those in like that. So that's how it is that I get work done. Is I come out here, I do quick little studies, and then I take those studies back and I combine them with photographs, and that's how I get my work done. Not everything comes from just doing it on site. Sometimes you have to take a long time to, figure out how it is that you're going to make things look on a page. And the way that we do that is by just doing quick little studies. There's some leaves back in here, and I'm going to make those leaves. There's also quite a bit of fungus growing on it here in some interesting spots. In the background, way back here, actually right here, there's a tree. There's a small tree growing right here. I'm going to put that in. And it goes straight up off the page. And I'm going to put in the other side of this little tree. And I'm going to make some branches coming off. And I'm just going to lift, draw a line, lift, draw a line, lift, draw a line, lift. Okay, so way out here on the end of these are some sort of flat looking leaves. right, this is, you know, for a little study, this thing's coming right along. This has got a lot of moss all over it, so I'm going to just I'm going to stipple that all in. If you learned anything from this video, I'd really appreciate it if you click liked. I'd like it even better if you would leave me a comment. I really like to hear from everybody. If you have a question, leave it in the comment section. I'll get right back to you. If you're currently a subscriber, I thank you very much. And if you're not currently a subscriber, please consider subscribing to my channel. I really like to know that people are out there checking me out. And I'm going to keep doing this. So thanks again for watching. See you again next time.